Before you say it, I know what you're thinking. Deets, you got another project for the channel. You haven't even finished the Camaro. And yes, but hear me out. So initially, the game plan for the Camaro was to post a video a week in line with the Fusion videos. So I'd have 2 a week, one on the Fusion, one on the Camaro, and basically, you know, have the content come out like that. And while we did that for the rest of the year, and I was actually very happy with how it came out, main thing being was whenever I took my break, I kind of realized that a lot of the things that we want to do for the Camaro is a lot more eventful stuff that requires a lot more attention to detail. It's going to be a lot more in depth. So I don't necessarily want to rush these things, and they're still going to happen just a little bit more casually as the content comes out. It's not going to be me just like I get to a point and I stop. Like I want it to be where it's a little bit more of, you know, that transformation, the narrative building and all that good stuff. Now it's nothing like the Fusion videos because the Fusion videos, you know, the Fusion I drive all the time and I'm always wanting to do something too. I've always wanted to engage with you guys. So it's giving me a lot of opportunity to continue making content on that. And now for this new project, you need a little bit of backstory. So back in the day, I had a 2004 Chevy Suburban. Now that vehicle was great. It was comfortable, reliable, convenient. I learned to drive in that thing. You could fit 8 people in it and even some dogs in the back. It would not break a sweat. Main thing being, for the longest, it was stock. And after a point, me and my dad decided, you know, let's give it the proper treatment it deserves. So we ended up giving it a lift kit and some wheels and tires. And that was basically my first little interest in YouTube videos. I did decide to make a video on it because it was something I hadn't seen done very often before. I was basically like, this is what we're doing. This is what it looks like now. I had a different approach, but it was something I was interested in. It was very short, sweet, to the point. I mean, I was using my phone and a DSLR and I was out of focus and blown out the whole time. So, you know, that's beside the point. Time went on, ended up getting the Fusion as that vehicle's replacement with the idea that the Fusion was, you know, more fuel efficient, a little bit more convenient to drive. It wasn't as big and it had a lot more creature comforts, which I definitely liked. We continued doing stuff to the Suburban, but I didn't document it because it was more just for our enjoyment as opposed for a YouTube audience. Now, having posted that initial video with the Suburban, it kind of made me want to do the same thing with the Fusion. And being that the Fusion was bone stock, I kind of saw the possibility to do, you know, some videos on that as well as I'm working on it, which is basically what I'm doing now. I didn't want it to be where I just like never talk about the Suburban again. I wanted to at least give it like a little bit of a transition and a proper send-off. Because I've never been a fan of like whenever you get invested in a vehicle or something going on and then you just never see from it again or hear from it again. So I ended up making a video just in my room where I was just talking about the things we did to it, showing old photos and videos, and I posted it. Now that video to this day is still one of the most popular videos I've posted, and I'm still getting comments saying like, hey, you should just do X, Y, and Z and you'll be done. It'll be a great build. Well, I agree with a lot of the things that people are saying. I can't do them because we sold the vehicle, so really can't work on a vehicle you don't have. And we sold it because it just wasn't really getting used as much as it should have, and it wasn't really the most practical thing to have around anymore. I had the Fusion and I was driving that all the time, and the Suburban was basically just, you know, taking up space, and like 90% of the time that it was being driven, it was just me driving it, and you know, it fits 8, and to just have one person in there, it really wasn't what the vehicle deserved. To my knowledge, it's still in the family, which is good. There was still more that we wanted to do to that vehicle, but just never really got around to it, and it would have really been impractical considering like the vehicle is already too big as a whole. Now, to kind of, you know, sum it up, the Suburban is like a larger version of the Tahoe. There's a little bit more to it, but that's just kind of how, in essence, you can kind of describe it. Now, what I had learned not too long ago, I'm a little embarrassed to actually admit, is that for a span in the 90s, they actually made a smaller version of the Tahoe. It was still a Tahoe, mind you, but it was the 2-door option. As soon as I like found out about it, I basically fell in love. This is only a generation removed from the Suburban we had. It's still very familiar to the next generation and still a very comfortable vehicle as well. And so for a good chunk of time, I had been looking for one and basically seeing, you know, the different options they had, the cool features and whatnot. And so I was looking at one specific one. And seemingly at the last minute, I found this other one that seems to be a much better project, much better deal. So basically we find this 2-door Tahoe that's in great condition all around, and it's going to be a great project to basically finish off what we wanted to do with the Suburban to this vehicle. So without further ado, let me introduce you to the new project on the channel, this 1996 Chevy Tahoe 2-door. Now, there's a lot of good reasons why this is a really good candidate. Again, keep in mind, it isn't to my specific liking, but it's a good candidate to actually, you know, modernize, basically make a really fun vehicle to drive and enjoy. So first thing is, you can probably see just as I get closer, but it just recently got a paint job. So majority of the time when you're looking at an older vehicle, specifically a 90s vehicle, you're gonna have a hard time finding one with a solid body because, you know, these are prone to rust, and you're gonna have to basically account for all that whenever you're actually putting the vehicle back together, whenever you're actually wanting to do specific work to it. Usually it's gonna be a little expensive as well, but the beauty of it is that a lot of the things that can get extensive and expensive on these vehicles has already been accounted for. So it does have that accounted for, which is a big plus for sure. Next thing is the interior is solid. So it does have blue interior, which is one of the selling points for me specifically. I love colored interiors. I'll get a little bit more to the specifics of it in a sec, but you can kind of see it's just all in really, really good condition. Headliner solid as well. It does have upgraded seats. They're not my favorite. I might, do something with these. I'll also make another video where I get a little bit more into the specifics of this vehicle, some of the things it has, some of the things that I'm planning on doing as well. But for the time being, I do just want to get you guys familiar with the newest project. Another reason being, it is extremely mechanically sound, and it's super, super clean under here as well. Basically, every single thing that could be a question mark on this vehicle is taken care of. The body, the interior, the engine. And as you can see, it does have some stuff done to it. I'm not going to go super in depth in this video. I will go in the next video. It does have Grille guard, aftermarket wheels and tires, aftermarket side step, aftermarket taillights, and it even has a dual exhaust, which is pretty cool. It is something that I did want to do for the Suburban. Now, I do have a bucket list for things that I want involving vehicles, and this one actually hits 3 points. One of them is that it's blue. I've always wanted a blue vehicle. My favorite color was blue when I was little, so it's something that I definitely grew up wanting, and finally having one is really, really cool. Then the next thing would be just having a more unique colored interior, because back in the day you could get tons and tons of different colored interiors. You could get teals, maroons, turquoises, greens, and nowadays it's basically just like gray, tan, and black tones. It's not anything really excited. You can find red every once in a while, and occasionally blue. I know that the C7 Corvettes did have a couple blue options. They had a light blue that was a special edition, and then a dark blue that was a little more under the radar. But usually it's just like the seats and maybe an insert on the door panel, nothing extensive. And then there are high-end vehicles that you can get that have like really cool colored interiors, but at that point you're basically paying the difference because it's so expensive, as opposed to just when you can basically get a cool color as a factory option. And then the last thing being just having a vehicle that's the same color inside and out. Basically just kind of ties in the first 2 points, but it does it with this, which is really cool. So I am really excited to get to work on this vehicle. I see a lot of potential with it. Again, don't worry, these wheels are going not really to my specific taste, so we'll see what happens with them. But there's a good amount of stuff that we wanted to do to the Suburban that we never did, and I guess in some interesting way we'll be able to do it to this vehicle. To have it be that really comfortable, casual counterpart to the Fusion, because the Fusion, I love driving it, and it's really good on fuel economy, but the second the roads don't get so great, kind of want a vehicle with some more clearance, and it always helps to have a vehicle that you can actually store things in, put things in the back. It even does have a little bit of a sound system on it, so that's pretty cool. The previous owner also had a good bit of mechanical knowledge. By the time we got there, he was working on another vehicle. So this one has definitely been taken care of. Again, I'll make another video giving a little bit more of a breakdown of the specifics of this vehicle, because not gonna lie, these are a little harder to find. I don't necessarily want to say they're rare, but there's not as many of them out there. Everything that you're gonna find is basically a 4-door, and usually in not the best condition, but having a 2-door in really good condition, it's pretty unique. I'm very happy about that. But that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna get to work, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. So I was able to remove these side steps. They were actually pretty easy. There were just a couple bolts on each one. But if anybody needs a couple iron cross side steps, let me know. So this is what the bumper looks like without the grille guard. It's a lot cleaner for sure. And the vehicle's taking up a lot less space now that it doesn't have that piece, and the side steps aren't on here. So this is probably what we're gonna call it for day one.